Welcome to another deep dive, and today we're going to be talking about a name you've probably heard before, especially if you've taken a science class. We're talking about Niels Bohr.
Niels Bohr, yeah.
Now, he's most well known for his model of the atom,
Right.
but there's a lot more to this story, so we're going to kind of go beyond the typical textbook version of his life,
Right.
and really dive deep.
Yeah.
We're going to be using a biography as our source for all this. So
Okay.
get ready for a journey through 20th century physics, history,
Sounds great.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's so fascinating about Bohr is that his story isn't just about the science. It's really about how all of his personal experiences, his philosophical beliefs really shaped his approach to science, and then ultimately how he impacted the world. So it's a really interesting story.
Yeah, it's not just the stereotypical person in a lab coat
Right.
doing science. There's a lot more to it.
It's-
So let's start out in his hometown, Copenhagen.
Okay.
Born October 7th, 1885, to a father who was a physiology professor,
Wow.
and his mother was from a wealthy Jewish banking family. So kind of sounds like he was destined to be
Yeah, had a good foundation there.
in some kind of intellectual field.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it wasn't just him.
Right.
His brother, Harold,
Uh-huh.
was also a brilliant mathematician.
Okay.
And get this, an Olympic footballer.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so he played for the Danish national team.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so clearly this family had some serious
A lot of talent going on in that family.
talent going on.
Yeah.
So Niels, he was a pretty passionate footballer too.
Oh, okay.
He was a goalkeeper.
Okay.
So, I mean, even geniuses have hobbies.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So he started out at Gamelholm Latin School
Okay.
at the age of 7, I believe. And then by 1903, he was studying physics at Copenhagen University.
Okay.
So let's talk about this competition he was in
Okay.
1905.
Uh-huh.
So the Royal Danish Academy of Sciences and Letters, they had a challenge.
Okay.
They wanted to see who could measure the surface tension of liquids the best.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people probably would just used
Well.
the equipment that they already had, but Bohr, he was different.
He decided to go a little further.
He went above and beyond, yeah.
Yeah.
He built his own equipment.
Wow.
He actually improved on existing theories,
Mm-hmm.
and he won.
Not surprising.
Yeah, not surprising at all.
I mean, that really, I think already at that point, it shows his his dedication, his willingness to kind of think outside the box.
Right.
and really push the boundaries of what was known at the time.
Yeah, it really does foreshadow his career.
Absolutely.
So from there, 1911, he earns his doctorate
Okay.
with his thesis on the electron theory of metals.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is a little kind of sad part of the story
Oh,
because
wow.
it was groundbreaking,
Okay.
but it wasn't recognized as such at the time
Yeah.
because it was written in Danish.
Oh, I see.
So
yeah.
kind of a bummer there.
Yeah, unfortunate.
But his story takes a personal turn too.
Okay.
1910, he meets Margrethe Nørlund,
Okay.
and they get married 2 years later,
Mm-hmm.
and they go on to have 6 sons.
Wow, 6 sons.
Yeah, so quite a family.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
But this is where the story takes
Okay.
a sad turn.
Yeah.
2 of their sons died young.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Christian in a boating accident,
Oh,
and Harold from meningitis.
gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
To lose 2 children, that must have been incredibly difficult for them.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and yet, he continued his work.
He persevered. He was
Yeah.
very dedicated.
There he is.
But in 1911, he traveled to England,
Mm-hmm.
which was at the time really the hub
Right.
of atomic research.
Yeah.
So he goes there and he meets some pretty important people, J.J. Thomson.
Oh, wow.
But there was a younger scientist who really made an impression on him, Ernest Rutherford.
Rutherford, yeah.
Now, Rutherford had just proposed his nuclear model of the atom.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal.
This meeting, I mean, this is kind of a turning point, I think, in Bohr's life.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what happened? Did they start working together?
Yeah, so Bohr actually goes to work with Rutherford in Manchester
Oh, wow.
and meet some more future science stars.
Yeah.
George de Hevesy,
Okay.
Charles Galton,
Darwin.
Darwin. Wow.
Yeah, grandson of that Darwin.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then by 1913, back in Copenhagen, Bohr publishes his famous trilogy of papers,
Yeah.
introducing the Bohr model of the atom.
Right. So can you break that down? What is the Bohr model? What are the key points? So basically, electrons exist in specific energy levels.
Okay.
And they can jump between these levels, absorbing or emitting light in the process.
So it's not just like a random cloud of electrons. It's more structured.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a huge leap forward from what they knew before.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not perfect, but it was revolutionary at the time.
It was.
And it could explain things that previous models couldn't.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was a really big deal.
Yeah, it was a very big deal.
It paved the way for so much more.
Yeah, it was a stepping stone, really, to the
Wow.
future of atomic theory.
Okay, so that's the Bohr model.
That's the Bohr model.
Now, I'm curious. I mean, we're talking about him building his own equipment, doing all this incredible research.
Yeah.
Did he ever try to like build an institution or something?
That is a great question.
Or was he always kind of a lone wolf?
And we are going to talk about that right after the break.
Sounds good.
So he did want to build an institution.
Okay.
In 1917,
Okay.
he started campaigning for an Institute of Theoretical Physics in Copenhagen.
Makes sense, yeah.
And by 1921, it happened.
Wow.
The Niels Bohr Institute opened its doors.
That's really cool.
It was really a hub for all these brilliant minds to come together.
It's like he created like a scientific melting pot.
Yeah, I like that.
Where all these great minds could come and exchange ideas and debate and
Yeah, bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to me because you don't really think of him as a collaborator, but he really was.
Yeah, you think of, scientists sometimes as kind of lone wolves.
Right.
Working in their labs by themselves.
Exactly.
But Bohr, he really understood that scientific progress thrives on interaction, on sharing ideas, on different perspectives. And this collaborative spirit that he fostered, I think, was really crucial as physics was entering this period of radical transformation.
Yeah, this is the quantum revolution.
Right, the quantum revolution, exactly.
So the 1920s, I mean, this is when things get really crazy.
Things get really weird.
In the physics world.
Yeah.
And Bohr is right there in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, he's right there with the big names.
Heisenberg, Schrödinger, Dirac.
It's like a who's who of quantum physics.
Exactly.
And they're all working together.
And they're coming up with these groundbreaking theories that challenge the very foundations of classical physics.
Yeah, they're basically throwing out the old rule book and saying, okay, we need to rethink everything.
Right.
And I think one of the most revolutionary concepts that comes out of this period is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Uncertainty principle.
Yeah. So basically, you can't know both an electron's position and momentum with perfect accuracy.
Yeah, it's like the more you know about one, the less you know about the other.
Exactly.
And it's not just about limitations in measurement.
Right.
It's a fundamental principle of nature.
Fundamental fuzziness.
Yeah, like a fuzziness, an uncertainty built into the fabric of reality.
It's difficult.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
For even, people who are well-versed in physics to really grasp this concept.
Absolutely. And you know what? It challenges our intuitive notions of cause and effect.
It does.
Like in the classical world, if you know the initial conditions of something, you can predict what's going to happen.
Right.
But in the quantum world, it's just not that simple.
Right. Yeah.
And it's here that I think we see Bohr's philosophical side really emerge. He has these, legendary debates with Einstein.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, because Einstein really resisted this probabilistic view of the universe.
Right.
He famously said, God does not play dice.
Yeah.
So what was Bohr's response to that?
Well, apparently Bohr, known for his wit, said, Einstein, stop telling God what to do.
That's great. Such a great line.
He wasn't afraid to challenge Einstein.
He wasn't afraid to stand up to him.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, you gotta have some guts to do that.
Right.
But beyond the witty exchanges,
Yeah.
Bohr developed this profound concept to try to reconcile these seemingly paradoxical ideas.
Yeah.
And it's called complementarity.
Complementarity.
Right. And basically what he argued is that light, even electrons, they can exhibit both wave-like and particle-like behavior.
Yeah. So both.
So it's not that one is right and one is wrong.
Right.
It's that...
Depends on how you observe it.
Yeah, depending on the experimental setup.
Right.
You might see one or the other.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
It's really mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really is.
When you think about it, it's not just physics. It's a whole new way of thinking about reality.
It makes you wonder if you can apply that to other things, like human behavior.
Yeah, I mean, people, they often exhibit seemingly contradictory traits.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's a fascinating question.
Interesting.
And I'm sure Bohr would have loved to explore that.
Yeah.
But, you know, while these intellectual debates are raging, there's a storm gathering on the horizon.
This doesn't sound good.
Yeah, so the rise of Nazi Germany casts this dark shadow over Europe.
Yeah.
And Bohr, with his Jewish heritage and his, you know, unwavering commitment to humanitarian values, he finds himself in a very precarious position.
Yeah, definitely.
He was deeply troubled by the persecution of Jewish scientists under the Nazi regime.
Of course.
And you know, he didn't just speak out against these injustices.
Right.
He actually took action.
Wow.
He helped many escape to safety,
really?
Including Lisa Meitner, who would later play a crucial role in understanding nuclear fission.
That's incredible.
So, I mean, these actions, I think, speak volumes about his character.
They do.
You know, he was willing to put himself at risk to defend his principles and to protect others.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And then when Denmark was occupied by the Nazis in 1940.
Oh, okay. So things get even worse.
Things get really bad.
Yeah.
He has to take drastic measures.
What did he do?
Well, you know, he had 2 Nobel Prize medals.
Yeah.
And he didn't want them to fall into the wrong hands.
Of course not. So what did he do with them?
He dissolved them in acid.
What?
Yeah.
He melted down his Nobel Prizes.
Yeah, basically
wow.
hid the solution in his laboratory.
That's incredible.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, that just shows his commitment to protecting knowledge, even at great personal risk.
It's like something out of a spy movie.
It really is.
Right.
Like, it's hard to believe it actually happened.
Yeah, and then in 1941, he has this clandestine meeting with Werner Heisenberg. Who was leading Germany's nuclear program.
Oh, wow.
So this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is intense.
To this day, we don't know exactly what they talked about.
Yeah, it's a historical mystery.
Yeah.
But the implications are huge. I mean, you have these 2 brilliant physicists.
Right.
One working for the Allies, one working for the Nazis, and they're meeting in secret to talk about, you know, the most powerful weapon ever conceived.
Yeah.
It's chilling when you think about it.
It's crazy. And then just 2 years later, he and his family have to flee Denmark.
Oh, wow.
They go to Sweden and then to Britain.
Okay.
And this is where he gets involved with the Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan Project.
The top secret effort to develop the atomic bomb.
So he goes from, you know, escaping the Nazis to working on the most powerful weapon in human history.
It's crazy how his life just...
Yeah, that's quite a turn of events.
Takes these wild turns.
It really is.
But he was very conflicted about this role.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, he understood the power that they were unleashing.
Yeah, and he knew what it could do.
Yeah.
I mean, he understood the destructive potential of these weapons.
And he advocated for international cooperation and control of this new force.
So he was trying to kind of put the genie back in the bottle.
I guess you could say that.
Or at least, you know, put some safeguards in place so that it wouldn't be misused. So did he ever, like, talk to any world leaders about this?
He did.
Well,
he actually met with President Roosevelt.
Wow.
To plead his case.
So he went right to the top.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did Roosevelt listen to him?
Well, sadly, his pleas didn't really amount to much.
That's too bad.
But, you know, after the war, he went back to Copenhagen.
Okay.
And he became a really vocal advocate for peace.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He really believed that international cooperation and open dialogue were essential to preventing future catastrophes.
Yeah, I mean, he had seen firsthand the horrors of war and the destructive power of these new weapons.
And he saw both sides.
Yeah.
He saw the destructive side. Right. But he also saw the constructive side.
The potential. Yeah.
The potential for good.
Yeah, and he dedicated the rest of his life to promoting, you know, responsible scientific advancement.
Yeah, it's amazing how, you know, his personal journey, his escape from the Nazis, his involvement with the Manhattan Project.
Yeah, all of these experiences
really shaped his worldview.
Yeah, and his vision for a future where scientific progress went hand in hand with ethical considerations and global cooperation.
I mean, he wasn't naive to the challenges.
No, of course.
But he believed in the power of dialogue and understanding to build a more peaceful world.
And it's inspiring to see that even after everything he went through, he still had this hope for humanity, this belief that we could do better.
And his efforts actually contributed to the creation of CERN. Yeah, European Organization for Nuclear Research, which is a testament to his vision of international scientific collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to think that, you know, this one man had such a profound impact
on the world.
On the world, yeah.
So from building an institute to advocating for peace, Bohr's life really extended far beyond the laboratory.
He was so much more than just a scientist.
Right.
He was a humanitarian, a philosopher, and really a symbol of the power.
The power of the human spirit.
The human spirit, to persevere.
Yeah.
Even in the face of incredible challenges.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the life of Niels Bohr, I'm just struck by the complexity of his story.
Yeah, it's a remarkable story.
I mean, we've journeyed from his early days in Copenhagen to the forefront of the quantum revolution.
Right.
From escaping Nazi persecution to grappling with the implications of the atomic bomb.
It's hard to believe it's all the same person.
It really is.
But, you know, what I think stands out to me is that Bohr's life wasn't just a series of events.
Yeah.
It was a testament to the power of ideas. Right. The courage to question.
To think differently.
Yeah, to think differently. Yeah. And that enduring human spirit that seeks to understand our place in the universe.
I think we started this by asking how his personal experiences shaped his approach to science.
Yeah.
And I think the answer lies in his concept of complementarity.
Complementarity, yeah.
This idea that seemingly contradictory aspects can coexist, even complement each other.
And I think that's a really powerful concept, not just for physics, but for understanding the world in general.
It challenges us to embrace nuance, to consider multiple perspectives, to acknowledge that the truth often lies somewhere in between these opposing viewpoints.
Yeah, it's not always black and white.
It's not.
There's a lot of gray area.
And I think that's something that we could all benefit from.
Absolutely.
Remembering.
Especially in today's world.
Especially today.
Where everything seems so polarized.
Exactly.
And people are so quick to judge.
Yeah, and to dismiss other viewpoints.
So I think Bohr's life and his work offer us a framework for thinking about these challenges.
For sure.
You know, encouraging us to engage in dialogue.
To be open-minded.
Yeah, to be open-minded, to question our assumptions, and to really seek understanding.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard, Because sometimes, you know, the truth is uncomfortable, but it's still important to seek it out.
And ultimately, that's what Bohr was all about.
Yeah, he was a truth seeker.
Yeah, he was driven by curiosity.
Absolutely.
And a desire to understand.
Yeah, and I think his legacy serves as a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge, when coupled with ethical responsibility, can be a force for good in the world.
A force for good, yeah.
Yeah, so let's try to live up to that.
Let's try.
Let's try to follow in Bohr's footsteps.
Yeah, let's be a little more like Niels Bohr.
I think the world would be a better place if we did.
I think so too.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.